at some point, he said that I'm going to enter you for your GCSE exam in November when you come back. I was like, at that moment, I was like, what? You mean for real? At secondary school, there was a whole bunch of new subjects that I hadn't studied before, or so this was like subjects like art. I always wanted to draw, and art was something I really wanted to do. And you had geography, you had history, learning about ancient history as well as modern history. You had RS, you had IT, we had design and technology. There was music as well. There was Spanish, Hola, and French, Je m'appelle Derrano, Sacre Bleu, and we had a good bunch of teachers. And of course, there was science as well. You can't forget about science. The lab coats, the glasses, the Bunsen burners, the experiments, all of that together, and learning about science and learning the fact that everything we learned in primary school was a simplification. And spoiler alert, everything you learnt in GCSE is a simplification of A level, and then it's all simplifications until you do the real stuff at uni, and you spend time relearning stuff. And learning the true nature of the beast is what it is. I guess that's the education system. And yeah, I made lots of friends. Well, I wish I could say I'm in contact with all of them now, but I know where to find them on different social media platforms. And yeah, it was a very good time. However, this is in hindsight. I remember the predominant feeling was, I want to get out of here. I don't want to be doing school. I don't want to be doing exams and coursework. I want to get out of here. Who wants to do homework? No one wants to do homework. And yeah, that was the feeling. And I'm glad to say that my peers, a lot of my peers, they did exactly that. They got out of school, they got their grades, got their subjects, and they're doing what they want to do in life. And that's amazing. And as for myself, I would say I'm in a good place right now. Obviously, my goals have changed, as you will come to hear, but I am definitely content. And if there's ever a point where I felt like I wasn't happy, I make a change. You're either happy with the situation that you're in, or you make a change. Don't do anything else outside of those two options, otherwise you're just unhappy. And who wants to live a life unhappy? Despite all these wonderful subjects that I was learning, maths was still my favourite subject. It was still the subject that I loved. I loved to do it because I was good at it, and I felt smart to be able to solve problems and to learn about algebra and numbers and angles and graphs and all of that stuff, basically. You can tell that I do less maths now. But maths is, at the heart of it, is problem solving. And my first maths teacher in secondary school, his name was Mr. Dooley, and I'm going to shout his name out because, one, I don't know where to find him, and two, he's a legend, and I'll tell you why he's a legend. And in that year 7, I went from a 5C, which is what I left year 6 in, which is a very high grade, and I ended up with a 7C. But that is a very big jump. That jump earned me a ticket to top set in all subjects. Yes, so I was in the... I don't think that happens much now, but essentially I was in a class full of smart people. Long story short. So I was deemed one of the smartest people in my year. And that's true. That was true. And through his mentorship, his teaching style, he made maths fun. And lots of teachers fail to make the subject that they're learning fun. They try to make it all technical, but all you need to do is keep it simple, keep it fun, and students will learn. And yeah, I answered lots of questions, I asked how as well, so being a good student is also another part of it as well. So low-key, your boy is a genius, like a low-key genius, and I was a low-key genius back in that time as well, going from 5C to 7C. That is pretty impressive. However, you'll soon come to realise that as you get older, your genius level status becomes normal because one, people catch up, they learn different things, and two, it becomes less about what you know and it becomes more about who you know, i.e. your network. Because when you have a good network around you, accountability allows you to develop and to strengthen yourself in other areas. Think of it as like gaming. If you've played Sims, or if you played a RuneScape, or if you've played any sort of game where you level up, say you're playing COD, or say you're playing FIFA, and you level up different stats. Your base stats may be really amazing, but later down in life, your base stats then start to average out because of your age and your age group. And then there's these other stats that you haven't paid much attention to because you didn't really need them at 13, 14, start becoming a lot more important when you're 20, 30. And so when you have accountability, a friendship group around you helps to build up those base stats. So if you game a lot and you're not a professional gamer, you need to start gaming in real life and developing your stats. And we'll talk more about that on my channel. And the last thing I want to say as well is, you need to get yourself a coach. You need to get people, or basically, long story short, ask for help. That's the professional way of saying asking for help. And remaining humble, because even though you may know a lot of things in one area of life, people know other things in other areas of life. So in being humble, asking for help, getting coaches to help develop your skill set makes you more well-rounded. So in that sense, being smart, being a genius, being academic is only a tool. It's only a part of the puzzle. It's not the complete real deal. And that's why you'll find that not a lot of smart people are successful in life, or they don't always make it as you think they would, because it's not just about what you know. It's about your communication skills, how you articulate yourself, and the other areas of life that we don't pay attention to as much. Can't remember when exactly, but around year 7, year 8, I joined the school basketball team. And that was a very pivotal moment for me, because I was learning basketball. I had an excuse to play basketball at school. I didn't have that excuse before in primary school, and it just allowed me to train, to develop my skills, and make deeper bonds with my friends. And there was one particular game that we played at a school, an away game essentially, in school-to-school competitions, and we lost the game. We didn't win, but we had put in a good performance. And one of the referees was like, "I like your team, and I think you should come and train with me as in not just me, myself personally, but the whole team at his club," which is at the time was known as Kennington Basketball Club, and later renamed itself to Kennington Generals. I don't know what name they go by anymore, but literally the Black Prince Hub, the Regal, the Jordan Court, that area, that place, before it became as big as it is now, which is located in Kennington. And so through that person who later became my coach, he retaught me the fundamentals of basketball. So whilst before, when in that summer camp, I didn't know how to do a layup, I learned how to shoot, I learned how to do a layup, I learned how to dribble, I learned everything from scratch. So whilst my first club was Brixton Top Cats in that basketball training camp, at Kennington Basketball Club is where I actually learned how to play basketball. That's where I actually learned the game. I learned about picks, I learned about roles, I learned about tactics, I learned about plays and positions and what I do. I learned how to use my body, I learned about guards, I learned about bigs and wings, all of that stuff. If none of that makes any sense to you, it's all good. It didn't make sense to me either, but now it's like the back of my hand. And it's through that experience that I learned how to play basketball. And the key thing was, it was free. So Brixton Top Cats I had to pay, but Kennington Basketball Club, it was subsidised through the council, etc., and I didn't have to pay anything. So that was something that I could comfortably say to my parents, I'm going to go and train here because you didn't have to spend money. Because as I said before, my parents did not like to part with cash. So it was nice to be able to actually train and learn the game of basketball properly. In addition to that, I also played competitions on weekends, Sundays, etc. So I had game experience, and all in all, that allowed me to develop myself as a basketball player as well as studying at school. However, as I said, my parents didn't like that too much, And essentially I made a pact or a deal with my parents after a lot of arguments, after a lot of why are you coming home late, etc., what you're doing with your time, basketball's a waste of your time. It's not, and I'll explain why later. Because essentially it allowed me to focus. That's the main, kept me up to streets. In the time that I lived, the area I lived, there was lots of like gang-related violence, gang-related things that were happening, and I was oblivious to a lot of it because I was either playing basketball or studying. So it wasn't a waste of my time, and I gained contacts and networks that I still have contact with today that literally shaped my life. I learned how to be a man. I had different mentors. I learned about different aspects of life, communication, teamwork, things that I use today in my job that seemingly are unrelated, but through playing sports helped me develop those skills so that I can be the best that I can be in my current job right now. So for the moment I joined the basketball team in Kennington, school became a job to me. I treated school as a job. As soon as I got to school, I did what I needed to do, get my grades done, get my homework done, and I got out of there, did my responsibilities such as like looking after my siblings, chores, and then played basketball. And that was literally my life from year 8, year 9. And around year 9, I relocated to another part of South London. And towards the end of year 9, my math teacher, Mr. Dooley, I mentioned him before, he checked up on me. And he was like, what's your grade in maths? And I told him I'm 7C, and he's like, from year 7 to year 9, you've still been 7C. That's crazy, that's wild. And so he took me under his wing again, whilst I was still in top set maths, essentially. And every morning I would go up to his early morning booster sessions because he was trying to help boost the grades of year 10 and year 11 students that he was I guess under his studentship. And I would do past paper exams, I would do past paper questions, and I didn't know at the time, but he was training me, he was developing me, and he was improving my skills, my math skills. And I just did past paper questions. He would send me past paper questions, and he would mark them and said, do it again. And I would do them under exam conditions, I would do them timed. And all of this are little gems I'm sharing with you that I will further explain in other videos. But this is how I essentially developed my math skills. And over the summer period, Mr. Dooley gave me a bag of test papers. And at some point, he said that I'm going to enter you for your GCSE exam in November when you come back. I was like, at that moment, I was like, what? You mean for real? You think I can do my GCSE? And not only did he think that I could do my GCSE, no, the target became get 100%. No, I'm being dead serious. That was the target, to get 100% in my GCSE. So for me, my mind was getting a perfect score on that math paper. I wasn't trying to get a B, I wasn't trying to get a C, I wasn't trying to get an A. A star, I wasn't even trying to get A star, I was trying to get 100%, I was trying to get a perfect score. And lo and behold, I got myself an A star in November at maths. Just for context, I wasn't the only person who was entered early, 2 other students were entered early. I will say less about that story because there's a whole story around that. But essentially, your boy got himself an A star in year 10. And that happens a lot less now because schools are now coached to deepen your knowledge rather than to fast track students. So that happens less and less now unless your parents pay for it, etc. So what happened? So because I didn't need to do maths anymore because I got A star in maths, I started to do statistics. So I did statistics instead of maths. And yeah, that was fun because I learned lots about why numbers are misleading. And that's a whole nother kettle of fish. But don't believe every statistic that you see. Or basically, if you see a statistic, there are 10,000 questions that you need to ask first. That's the long and short of it. But don't be scared by numbers. Numbers are just a tool. So I'm performing good in school, getting good grades, got myself that A-star in year 10. And around this time period, I was seriously considering playing for the NBA. So my mindset was, I'm trying to get myself to the NBA. So I was waking up early, I was studying hard, I was training several times a week, 4 times a week even, 5 times a week. I didn't bring myself to train every day, but I was training a lot because of all the responsibilities that I did have. And at this point, I was funding myself to play basketball. I would use my lunch money to pay for my trainers, any gear that I needed for my membership fees. So in regards to membership fees, I made a decision at this moment to move on from Kennington Basketball Club and play for Brixton Top Cats officially. So around this time period, year 9, year 10, was when I actually made that move, and it was a difficult move because I built a lot of friendships. My coach at the time didn't like it, but I saw Brixton Top Cats as the place to be in order to develop myself further if I wanted to make it to the NBA. And that's what I did. I joined the club. They had membership fees, which was a lot different from Kennington Basketball Club because that was free. And yeah, it was a different level of training, but it helped me get better, and I was really excited about it. And that's when school became even more of a job, because now I was doing a lot more than I was doing before. And yeah, it started to get testy. I started to come home later and later. My parents were angrier. However, I was like, this is what I wanted to do, and I made sure that my grades were on point. At no point could my grades drop down, because that was my bargaining chip. I couldn't play basketball without having good grades, and that was the mindset behind my good grades. So your boy in year 11, he ended his GCSEs with 5 A-stars, 4 A's and 2 B's. Yes, you heard that right. 5 A-stars, 4 A's and 2 B's. And that is literally one of my proudest achievements. But really and truly, I would say the most proudest grade out of all that set of grades, you know one of them already, which was maths, which is in year 10. I'm proud of that. But the other proud one was my French in B. I got a B in French. I was really happy about that. I was so happy about that because I was not getting a C. And I studied hard. I memorized a lot of French words when I did those examinations. And yeah, I fought really hard and I got that B. When I saw that B, I was so happy. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Because yeah, I did. It just looks to me, a C just looks a bit no diss to anyone who gets C's, but it's just, for me, that was my mindset. I was like, not getting a C. And yeah, because of that achievement, I received an award from Lambeth, a Lambeth Achievement Award. So I got a medal and a certificate as well, and that was something that I'm really proud of. I didn't go to the ceremony, won't explain why, but I received an award for that. And also in that year as well, year 11, I won the London Youth Games with Lambeth as well. So it was something that I was really happy about. So the London Youth Games is something that happens every year. I think it still happens today. And essentially the top persons in every sport in each borough basically face off against each other. It's like Olympic Games essentially, but it's in London. And for basketball, I won the youth games in Lambeth. However, I didn't play the finals because the finals fell on a Saturday. Essentially, I keep the Sabbath. So I don't play basketball during Sabbath hours. So even though I helped the team get to the finals, I didn't actually play in the finals myself. But got the medal, won the award. So I'm really happy about that. And if you want to learn more about my story, tune in for the next video.